Hi, let's look at another variation of the Spanish game, or also known as Ruy Lopez. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, and now the so-called Morphy defense, which is nowadays played um, almost exclusively. a6, bishop a4, knight f6, castle, bishop e7, and now we're moving to the closed defense. And here black has the option, if white plays c3, trying to get d4 in, to play d5, which is the Marshall counter-attack. Now here white's most common reply is e takes d, knight takes d, and knight takes e. Black captures white's knight, rook captures black's knight, and then Marshall himself used to play knight f6, but when he was playing against Capablanca, Capablanca found a victory through some complications. But nowadays c6 has been found. It's stronger, and that's why many players of the Ruy Lopez want to avoid the Marshall counterattack by means of playing, for example, d4 on move 8 already. I mean, without c3, or a4, or something, just something else other than c3. So here black has some dynamic counter chances, and most common by white is just to play d4, and then black kicks the rook. It just goes back to e1 usually, and here there's a possibility for the excuse me, I can't remember the name, Rombawa trap with bishop sacrifice on h2. So I analyzed that variation, and for a human player it's maybe difficult to defend against. I mean, bishop h2, king takes, queen h4, followed by bishop g4, hitting the queen, and usually goes to d3, but maybe d2 is also possible, and the knight might jump to f4, causing some problems, and the rooks also could contest the e-file. So yeah, if white's not careful, that could be really good for black. But let's look at just queen h4, g3, queen h4, h3, and this position is quite common. I mean, even in top play. I mean, this happens after the Marshall counterattack, so it's good to know because someone might play it against you. So here, just bishop e3 is most common. Black plays bishop g4, queen d3, appears in many variation, repeats itself. Rook A to E8, Knight D2, trying to cover some weaknesses. Rook to E6, A4. Now black has a few choices. Queen H5 or F5. Also, just B takes A4. Let's look at Queen H5 first. A takes B, A takes B, and here white can play Queen F1 or Knight F1. Let's look at some differences. This is draw from all of the or 10 draws out of 11 games of the example games. So white should be safe and black should be safe also. So if you're looking to get a draw, you can play this. Let's look at Knight to F1 then. Bishop F5, Queen D2. This is a quite rare position already. Yes. There's one game with a white victory, but I guess the result could be either way. Let's back down a little bit. So Queen H5 is called the Spassky variation. I guess he played it then. Let's look at 18 F5. Here usually always white tries to drive the queen away, and it goes away, and then F4, white is able to close things a little bit on the king side, and this is slightly better for black if we believe the results. Rook goes to B8, forcing the exchange, and then something like this. This is actually quite balanced, so I don't have engine analysis, but according to the database. So many things can happen in this kind of terrain. It's tactically quite rich. So yeah, here I guess is the end of the mainland, because the branches start to be equal, start to be like as important as each other. So there's no continuation that is much more common than common than the others. So I think this would be the ending of the variation. Let's look at it again. So 18 moves by white. and a4. So that's one variation that can happen in the martial counterattack, and I think it's something that it's a variation that white should know. I mean, the problem with Ruy Lopez is that black can pretty much choose the variation that's being played, so if you go to Ruy Lopez, then you should know all the variations, and there's like hundreds of them, so we'll try to at least know the basic ones. That's what I'll try to do, like 4 or 5 basic variations, and then there might be room for improvisation if you know the basic variations. So thanks for watching. I'll try to cover more about the Ruy Lopez, and I'll put some stuff or links below if I forget something. Bye.